Tonight's honoree, Richard Gonzmart, expressed his wish to share this award in honor of his parents for their deep appreciation of arts and culture. Richard's mother, Adela, was the granddaughter of Casimiro Hernandez Sr., founder of the Columbia restaurant in 1905 in Ybor City, and the daughter of Casimiro Jr. and Carmen Hernandez, both Cubans of Spanish descent. Adela's first piano recital was when she was just 6 years old. Adela studied in New York City with the Spanish pianists, the Iturbis, and then went on to Juilliard, where she graduated with a Bachelor's of Music and Science degree. After Juilliard, Adela went on tour, appearing in concerts including New York's Carnegie Hall and in Havana. Richard's father was born Cesar González Martínez in West Tampa in 1920. At 6, he began violin lessons. He graduated in just 2.5 years from Tampa's Hillsborough High School, already an accomplished violinist. At 15, Cesar sat in as a substitute in the band at the Columbia restaurant, little knowing he would one day marry the owner's beautiful daughter, accomplished concert pianist Adela. Cesar won a scholarship to Stetson University, was a soloist with symphonies at 18, went to Havana, Cuba, and earned a PhD in music. In 1946, Cesar married Adela Hernandez. They had 2 sons, Casey and Richard Gonzmart, who today are co-owners of the Columbia Restaurant Group. Adela and Cesar, along with their sons, traveled and performed throughout the United States and abroad. Adela and Cesar taught the very young Richard to play the piano and the violin. They introduced their sons to many famous musicians and artists who had become colleagues and friends, including the famous pianist and composer Ernesto Lecuona and the flamboyant entertainer, pianist, and composer Liberace. In 1953, Adela's father, Casimiro, was in failing health, so the family returned to Tampa, where Cesar assumed the responsibility of managing the Columbia restaurant, while Adela made her mark as a successful businesswoman and well-known cookbook author. Cesar and Adela Gonzmart left behind a legacy not only as accomplished and brilliant musicians, but also as passionate advocates for the arts and artists. We can all appreciate why Richard wanted us to recognize his parents, for they were stellar examples of many of the qualities for which we honor and celebrate Richard today. At age 12, Richard spent summers as an apprentice cook in the Columbia kitchen. Founded in 1905, the Columbia is the oldest restaurant in Florida, the oldest Hispanic restaurant in the U.S., and the largest Spanish restaurant in the world. After graduating from Tampa's Jesuit High School as a decorated football and track athlete, Richard continued his studies at the University of Denver School of Hotel and Restaurant Management. In 1973, Richard married his high school sweetheart Melanie, and they embarked to Spain, where he attended the Escuela de Turismo y Hostelería in Madrid. They returned to Tampa, and in 1994, Richard took over the helm as Columbia Restaurant Group's CEO. Under Richard's direction and leadership, the Columbia has been honored with many prestigious awards and recognitions. Richard and Melanie are loving partners in every aspect of life. They have 2 daughters, Lauren Gonzmart-Shellman and Andrea Gonzmart, both of whom work for the family business, and 5 grandchildren, twins Isabella and Michael, Maximilian, Alexander, and Amelia. Ever the scion of musicians, Richard keeps more than a dozen guitars in his office. The impressive collection includes one signed by John Lennon and one that belonged to Jimi Hendrix. Richard is a man who dreams big and works hard to make his dreams a reality. In August 2014, Richard opened the doors to Eulalie, a short distance from the old St. Joseph's Hospital where he was born. With Eulalie, Richard created a significant new artistic, cultural, and culinary flagship. Here, the culinary arts and arts and culture in many forms, sculpture, paintings, craftsmanship, are all celebrated. Richard is reviving another popular cultural icon, Goody Goody, soon to be reborn in Hyde Park Village. He has already chosen one piece of art for Goody Goody, supporting the winner of Hyde Park Village's TBBCA Call to Artists. Tonight, we honor Richard, and we also honor his parents, Adela and Cesar, for the passionate love for arts and culture with which they raised him. We celebrate Richard for his strong and lasting love of arts and culture and for his unbridled passion and enthusiasm. Tampa Bay Businesses for Culture and the Arts extends a heartfelt thank you to Richard Gonzmart and his family for their support for culture, for the culinary arts, and all the arts.